Welcome to this video. We were working on this guitar body. I think we hammered this out in the last video. Let's make a neck for it now, and let's make it in assembly. So we have the neck is a completely different part. So I have this profile, which is cut into, this part of the guitar, and that is going to hold the neck. So we want to make a sketch similar to this, but we'll have the neck be a little bit smaller so it will actually fit in the channel. I'll do that by making a new part. And from here we're looking at the front, the top, the bottom. So let's say that the front will be our fretboard. And so I'll extrude out of the top. I'll create a sketch on my top plane, or the ZX plane. And my fretboard will be right here. And I think I'll just sketch half and mirror. I think that's probably a quick way to do this. In fact, I want my tangent arc. So we'll go there, line, and done. We'll go with the nice vertical constraint here. And now I want to dimension this, of course, a little bit smaller than the neck channel. I know that I have a 30-degree angle between faces on my neck, so I can make this 15 degrees. I know from the top to bottom here it's 1.5 inches. However, I think 1 inch is going to be for best fit. I want to add a tangent relation in here to here so it's nice and smooth. And I think I have an equal relation in there that I don't mean to have, so I'll get rid of that. Next, we'll go 1.275. Let's give that a try, and then from here, maybe 0.23. And then let's choose a mirror. We'll mirror these about this. Let's deactivate. Let's do a little extrude. That works for me. I'm going to save this as a file called neck. Let's close this down here and let's create a new assembly. So we're in the new assembly environment. Let's go to Insert a Design. And I'm going to insert my guitar body. I'll stick one right central about the origin and click Finish. And I will right click on my part. And let's choose Anchor Part so then it won't walk around or move anywhere on us. So next let's insert our neck. And we'll finish that. So we want this to fit into our channel, so I'll choose this face and this face. Choose New Constraint, flip that around. Now I want this face to back up all the way against this face so they're flush. And then where along here, how do I want it to fit in? We'll say New Constraint on these faces. Now we have a little bit of interference in here, but I think we're going to clear that out pretty nicely if we just fillet it. One thing that's important to see, the top of my neck is pretty much the same with the top of my guitar body. So if the body came up way higher than my neck, then my strings would be running into the body and it wouldn't work. So that's nice little piece of validation I think we have there. So now what we want to work on is to transition from this shape, which is meant to fit into the body of the guitar, into a shape that's comfortable for your hand to play. So why don't I save and close my assembly? And here is my neck. So what I'd like to do is to say my fretboard is, this face. can I get more of a smooth curve that's comfortable for hand? I'll grab this plane and we'll go out a distance of something like 5 inches will probably work. And I'll close. And let's sketch out a profile that I think would be way comfortable for a hand. Then we can smooth everything out with fillets after that. In fact, let's import this line with maintained association. And I want to be really simple about it. How about I'll grab an arc and actually go from end to end here. And then I can choose a coincident and choose this origin here, just like that. Right, so that would probably be kind of a nice half moon shape, good for your hand. And we can smooth this edge out with a fillet as we go on later. So I have a close profile there. Now, one thing to keep in mind, I have 2 sketch elements and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sketch elements on this face. So if we get problems, we'll need to break this up into additional sketch elements so we loft from the same sketch elements to the same sketch elements. I'm going to create a sketch on this face now, and with this highlighted, we're going to project a sketch. We're creating a sketch figure. We'll have that with maintained association. And now, if I highlight my 2 latest lofts or sketches in my tree, we can create a loft. And I'll go with specifying a tangent. We have minimal twist, minimal curvature. And it looks like we're symmetric. So if I go to the top, the shading looks pretty good. I think we've done a pretty clean loft there. I may want to increase the tangency on this side, right? So if I highlight sketch 3, we'll go to our loft, and sketch 3 maybe, if I give this a magnitude of 2, we have a slightly different transition. But you know what would really make a difference, right? I think changing your magnitudes, I need to uncheck minimize curvature here. And there, that's the kind of curvature that I'm looking for, right? That looks a little bit more guitar-like to me. So that's better. Don't worry about magnitudes as much as minimize curvature. Get rid of that. Now, from this, back face, I want to create another plane. And we're going to go a distance of 21.125. And that should be a pretty good dimension for a real guitar neck. Not that I am capable of making a perfect guitar, because I've never made a guitar before, but that should be a good dimension for string length. I know when you dimension a guitar, there's a certain fret that acts as the midpoint of the string, so you just got to keep that kind of dimensioning in mind, especially when you go to a place where your bridge goes. Let's create a sketch now, and you know how guitar necks kind of get a little bit smaller as you go out and a little bit larger as you go towards the body of the guitar? Let's make something that reflects that. I'm going to make a center line, right, and I just want to create a relation where we are coincident onto that edge, and then I have this nice midpoint constraint where I can set that point as the midpoint of my line, and I get this nice mirror feature. So we're going to go out not quite as far. I'm going to choose an arc with my midpoint over here, just like that. And so I'll choose a dimension. Let's say how much we want to narrow on one side. 0.1 looks good to me, right? So we'll be narrowing nearly a 1/4 inch as we go to the top of the guitar. And then maybe about right there. What I can do is import this as a reference with maintained association, and then I can choose my concentric relation so that these points will be concentric, and now we're fully defined. So we'll deactivate that. Now we can't really double dip. Even though I have a sketch right here, it's been consumed in this loft and I can't loft again with it. So the simple solution is we're going to create a sketch on this face, and we're simply redoing the sketch with maintained association, and that is parametric. So if I update one sketch, the other one is updated. So sketch 5 is where we're starting from, and sketch 4 is where we would loft to get a narrowing profile. So I'm going to hold shift and highlight sketches 4 and 5. We're going to create a loft, and again, uncheck minimize curvature if it's there. I'm going to take sketch 4, and let's give it kind of a high magnitude. What about 5? If I say OK to there, that seems pretty good. But I think I'm going to redo this and make sure that sketch 5 has the high magnitude. I think that's a little bit more realistic. Yep, so we taper down, nice. Let me get a little bit thinner. Alright, so let's work on the head of the guitar. Lots of ways to do a head. Lots. In fact, I'm doing one in this video, and there's a lot, you know, it's CAD. There's no right or wrong. So I'm doing what I think is a pretty straightforward, easy way. If you have another way, you can let me know in the comments. Yeah, maybe we'll come out to about 22.5 looks pretty good. And this is going to look pretty eccentric because we're going to make a big profile and then whittle it down. Let's do the same thing as before, right? Create a line. We'll go get a coincident constraint here to here, and then we'll do a midpoint constraint. This line, that is the midpoint, and then we'll come over here and 5. That's probably wide enough. And I'll make an arc from here to here. We'll choose a vertical constraint, right? Midpoint of the arc to the origin. It looks like we're already there. So we just have to choose a radius. Let's go with the radius of actually, let's make this alright, so I'll choose a concentric, and between these two things, and we'll deactivate. Next, we'll make another plane, again relative to the same plane here. Now what I'm about to do can be done with a Boolean, is more cleanly done with a Boolean. But I want to demonstrate that the hobby license can do just about anything you want it to. And since that's not available in the hobby license, and I know the irony of saying the hobby license can do anything, but then you can't do a Boolean, we have really easy alternatives. And so I want to go through making that. So we're going to just do the same thing that we have, and this will kind of finish out this sort of big profile that I'm going for. All right, we'll choose our midpoint there to there. We'll choose a coincident from here from there to there. There we go. We'll go a touch more, 8 inches. Arc. We'll choose concentric. Looks like that's still open, so we'll just go with a horizontal. Deactivate, right? So we've got this sort of growing neck, and I'm going to loft between these. So we're going here to here, finally to there. For sure, we want sketch 4. Oh, and I don't know if sketch 4 is going to work because we've already consumed that, right? Our OK button is grayed out. So we'll do the same thing as before, project a sketch, highlight this face, maintain association, and done. Now we can loft to it. Now we're going from sketch 8. So starting with sketch 8, we'll select here, and for sure we want sketch 8 to have tangent. Our minimize curvature is off. So we've got this giant guitar head, and that will give us some good opportunity to whittle that down the way that we want to. Again, Booleans would be a great way of doing this, but Booleans have a lot of easy replacements, so we don't have to worry about it too much. There's our head. I'm highlighting this face. We're going to activate a 2D sketch. And let's get busy. First thing, let's sketch out something that looks quite nice here. Let's I want to import references of where my neck ends. So we're going to say OK to that. I want to choose a tangent arc. Actually, you know what? That didn't seem to stick well, so let's go with a regular arc. I'll add a horizontal here. And it looks like I imported these without... Darn. I'll just create a reference figure from here to here with maintained association, and of course that fixes that problem. We're going to go coincident. Let's go horizontal here to here, and then a dimension. And 0.5 is probably good. Now I know I can do a tangent arc, and we'll flip that around there. Maybe this will be a bit larger, maybe 1.25. And now a line, we're going to say tangent. And let's establish an angle from horizontal. So I'll add in a horizontal line here. I'll add a dimension of 57 degrees. There we go. Let's add a tangent arc that we can kind of flip around on. And I want to add, if you hear my toddler, she just woke up from a nap, so don't worry about that. I'm trying collinear, but that's not working, so let's go with parallel, which is the same thing. And then I want to add another tangent arc there. Maybe one that can flip back around a little bit. Right, it's starting to look like a guitar head. And here. I can bring my arc center point up to my arc end point in a horizontal relation. Now I can start assigning some dimensions. Right, maybe I can give this thing 4.3, and then maybe this thing will come down a little smaller, 3.85 per se. Let's make this, if I make that 1, that seems pretty good. Yeah, that looks more and more like a guitar head to me. Up to here. Give this dimension 6.8 seems fine. Down to here, 1.65. And then we'll give this a radius 2. That seems like a nice number. And we've got a nice guitar head, but we don't have a closed sketch. So this is where you would extrude and then do a Boolean. But this is pretty much the same thing. I'm going to choose an equal here to here. And I can choose a dimension. Here to here we'll go 6, right? Some big dimension. 10. And then I'll simply add a vertical. With that being done, we'll deactivate. We'll do a cut extrude. We're going to say through all. And that is the beginning of our guitar head. I think I've been modeling for a while today, so I'll do one more sketch and we'll call it good. I'll reset my view. I like looking at it this way. Same thing as before. We'll create a reference sketch, maintain association. We'll go with a tangent arc. That's the tangent arc that I know and love. Let's create another tangent arc here. And we'll have this be flat, so I'll make this horizontal, and now we'll have a flat head going up. Speaking of which, flat head engines I think are pretty cool, but that's just my opinion. Well, on the topic of flat heads, then we're going to come through here. And I think I can choose a center point arc to make that concentric, and same thing here. Of course, I want to project. I'll choose this line. Maintain association as a reference. And let's go with coincident. There we go. And I want to choose a tangent now. In fact, I know I just did all that work, but I realize I can't have a concentric relation because, oh, I do need a tangent right there too. I can't have a concentric relation because I want my guitar head to be thinner here than it is at the neck. And so I'm going to have to, at some point, try to reduce some thickness. In fact, look at that. I think I'm at kind of a straight shot, so let's just get rid of that and try a coincident from here to there. That doesn't look half bad. Depending on what thickness you want to have your guitar head, of course. Let's make this 6, right? Just so that it goes past. I'll choose this dimension, 0.325. That's pretty thin. That might be a little bit too thin. Okay. So, this is what we're dealing with here. I'll give this a radius value of 2 inches, probably good. I'll choose an equal relation from here to here. And now I want to choose an arc that comes over here. And we'll choose a dimension of 2. Instead of a dimension of 2, it would probably be better to use an equal relation for design intent. But there we are. So we'll just have the whole thing kind of bend down. We'll go with tangent now. And we'll give this a larger radius. 4 looks good to me. We'll add in a nice vertical here. So the question is, how thick, again my toddler's fine, how thick do we want to make our head? And I know a lot of thick-headed people out there. 0.575 should be fine. 0.75 kind of drop should be a good amount so the strings come down. And then what of this, right? Well, I know that I want this center point and this arc end to be horizontal. And now we're fully defined. Same rationale as before. I'm going to bring this up, around, down, right? This is just kind of taking the place of a Boolean. because there's a lot of solutions in CAD that you can use in place of booleans. We're going to go vertical there. We want to go horizontal. Okay, thank you. Horizontal here. And then 5, 10, right, something big. We'll deactivate, extrude cut, and through all. And look at that. We have the start of a guitar neck. So we'll save that. I think it can be very satisfying to close this and see how it's updated in our assembly. And that looks like a guitar. I think this is really coming along. So if you're doing this for real, I mean, make sure your bridge distance and whichever fret should be the middle point of the string is correct, right? And other than that, I think we're going to be pretty solid, right? That makes me just want to rock out. So I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.